Today, I'm just going to give some of my thoughts of our game, my game against Magnus Carlsen H12. Oh yes, this is just a bot, very strong bot with a rating of 2250, equivalent to an international master level. And perhaps one of the most intense game to be ever played, and not easy. Even though I don't want to be, I don't want to mess up as white against black. Okay, without further ado, let's start. So here I'm white, so I'm gonna start playing e4, just normal opening. Here black just can play c5 or the next d6. When I play f3, just like a Sicilians always play for black, Magnus. I mean, good opening for black. Responding this response for every move like e4, knight f3. So c5 is a good opening here. So he played that move. Now I can play knight f3. The purpose of playing knight f3, if he plays d6, I can just play c4 right away. If it takes, I takes. I can just play knight f6. So there is knight c3 or g6. Just some solid defense. Just slow opening. Just making a good square for all the pieces. All that stuff. The only difficult thing of playing this bot is even though you manage to execute some strong tactics, it doesn't work well in case in this level. Okay, g6 as expected. So just here we already just playing slow opening, slow game, in short. Nothing to be aggressive because we don't want to mess up all the pieces that we just brought into their respective square somehow. And still there is no threat yet. Maybe later. There will be maybe later. So now we can just play either this pawn c5. Also g6 strong. Knight c6. Just playing, just gaining more positional chess. Just like playing positional chess for. This is the available move for black. Either he play e5, knight c6, but bishop g7 was more than a good move. So now I can play h3, avoiding some bishop g4 ideas, annoying move, or knight g4, stopping me from playing bishop e3. So here I can just put my knight back on f3. Knight f3. So you have a knight c6. So what's with knight c6? Then I can just play bishop e3. He can either play d5, which is a top engine move, or he can play bishop e6, which is also very strong move. Then I can just play queen d2, solidify some, or just some discover attacks, planning some attacks from the king side by starting an attack from h6, which is a good, very good square to be attacked with, because I'm planning my knight to go here and bring more piece later on. Okay, so we can gain more space, or I will go. Either I want to gain more space by playing a4 instead, because when I saw an good opening for attacks like this one, I will go through it. I'm just going to make a plan, then calculate whether that move is precise or sufficient enough to make a massive attacks. That's the purpose of putting your bishop in e3, putting my bishop in e3. So there is purpose in every move you play. So you don't want just to guess the move if you don't know what are you doing, of what you're planning. You don't this you know in this position, you don't, if you're playing against Magnus Carlsen H12, if you ever want to play him in Play Magnus app or in Play Magnus Chess Academy, this rating is already equivalent into an international master or IM, or maybe low, but just a master level. You don't want to play just a random move against it, because that would be a problematic one. He start gaining space and you are unable to put your pieces on the right square. So now he play bishop e6. So what is my reply here? Many. I can either play knight g5 or just play queen d2. Continue my plan or on that good diagonal bishop on h6, attacking bishop, challenging that bishop on g7. So if he takes, I takes, then I can play knight g5 right away and stay my queen in h6 and bring more piece by playing f4, play rook f4, and bring my other rook from the game, from rook f1. So there's many tactics here. Just calculating some stuff. Either he makes some move that, just if you're trying to squeeze me, then I will create my attacks instead of gaining space. Because this square is very tempting. This diagonal, is very tempting. So like I said, he played b5, gaining more space. So now I can play this bishop h6. Now he can play knight to e5. Yes, that's the whole plan, because you don't want any attacks on the king side. Some threats. The only way to do that is to play the accurate move, like playing knight e5 before taking my bishop, of course. So now I can take, I can take the h6, and then you can just take from e5. Okay, so now I can play king h1. So just avoiding some pin from this pawn, stopping my pawn from coming from f4, just opening the e-file, because we know his queen can always go here, d4 square, pinning my king, stopping my pawn from coming from f4. So I just want to bring more peace in the king side. So now he can play rook b8, it's not sure, but he can play this move b4. I just going to bring my knight on e2, having a good square here, good spot after playing knight, playing knight here, goal all the way here. Once this f-file up, this pawn break done and finish for good. So rook b8 is still a good move. Continue my plan. Okay, it takes no, so now he can play queen c7 or queen d6. I just can slide my other rook and join to the game from f1. Then he have some ideas like knight h5, stopping a mate, stopping the guard, stopping my rook from coordinating to my queen, giving a checkmate from h7. That's kind of thing. That's the discover mate in 2. And then he have very good double attack from g3. Yes, I'm allowing it by sacrificing my rook in f1 as a bait, but in this level Magnus Carlsen won't just fall easy on a bait while there is a massive threat in his king side. He sees it. Now I can slide immediately my rook from f1. Now knight h5 is possible. Then I can just bring my rook from h4. Here we go. So now I can just, so now what's black's gonna play here? This knight from h5 is not yet a good idea to bring it on g3 to give a check and just take my rook from f1. It's a blunder because there's a mate, discover mate. Or he can play queen e5, having a good spot from his queen right here, or just challenge my queen from challenge to trade some queens. Who knows what he's gonna play? Let's see. Okay, yep. Now I can just play knight e2. I'm not really worried about my pawn on a2 hanging, because now I have 3 massive pieces, 3 minor pieces from his king side that I can really use for an all-out attack. So just solidifying, bring more piece. Now he can play either rook d8 to give some air for its queen, or escape square for its king. Yep, this is a very good square for escape for its king. After this, then he can play bishop a2. Now I can bring my rook to f3. Just some defending my bishop from d3. and having a good spot here. Just more defense once black play knight g3. Not so immediately. Let's see. So now he played bishop a2 immediately. So now here I can just play b3, so that his bishop cannot be joining the game in the whole entire game. Just closing this very strong diagonal light diagonal square and weaken his f7 pawn. So now he have one piece he has two pieces defending its king. And probably he's going to play e6 just in case just in case he move his knight and I give a check, he can just walk away from a checkmate. But of course I'm not allowing that. So now stopping that pawn bishop. Now his bishop cannot join in the game. So what is gonna play? Knight f6 is also possible, but that is a mistake. That's a mistake move. Because you're already allowing me to play knight g3. Of course. Because after knight g3, what he should play here? e6. Rook c8 was not possible. That's a wrong move. Rook d4 was also not a good move here because there is knight. Or I don't know. There is no good square for black after knight g3. Or he can just trade queens from g7. Then I can take the knight. So this is a problem. This is a discover tactics here. If he want a trade, if he play queen g7, I can just take the knight. And if he takes, then there is a pin. A rook g3 move. Pinning his queen, and he's going to lose that queen. So queen takes g3, knight takes g3, and I have very strong positional advantage and winning advantage. And he can just play rook d6 immediately. I can give check. There is rook g6. I can just take the pawn from e7. Yes, as I expected, a mistake. So now I can play knight g3, which is a good move. So now what he should play? Oh, rook c8? I don't see, does it make any sense? It does make any sense move. So now is the moment of truth. So this is a discover tactics that most professional or strong player really wanted to play. If you see that move, then you're you might be really a strong player. Yes, knight g to f5. Why? Because after pawn takes on f5, there's a rook takes on f5. He can move his queen away because there is check, there is mate into rook g2 check, rook g5 check, king h8. His king cannot go in f8 because there is queen in a diagonal square, open check. He's only one square to move, and there is mate in g7. Yes, I'm going to play it. So now he sees it. He's going to take. Rook takes c4, f5, queen takes e5, a queen sacrifice. And now I can take with a e pawn. Now I have totally a very strong advantage. Very strong advantage, because this bishop, his bishop in a2, black bishop, is very not in a good, let's say, useless. As long, what is the purpose if you have 4 pieces but the other piece cannot join the game, or either you don't have a good square for all your pieces? It's still not a win for you. While I have 3 pieces left with a queen, so I can just slide my pawn from g4, kicking the knight out. So I can just move and have some check here. Grab that pawn from h7. Okay, he want to play rook d4. He sees it. Once I play g4 and g5. Yep, as suspected. So trade rooks. Doesn't matter. Now he can just play knight d7 now. My only my mistake is I really didn't calculate much if I am in winning position, but I didn't expect that Magnus can just pull some. Yes, it's a mistake. Here is my mistake, that because I have many options that I can play bishop e4, rook d8, then there is pawn g7, knight cannot go. Oh, sorry. So knight cannot go here from, from e6 and d7, because if he go d7, then there is mate in d5. If it takes, there's still checkmate. There's still a mate. But my mistake here, I play pawn g7 immediately, rather than instead of play bishop e4. So dumb. So no. Okay, he have no really strong square. He already saw my mating idea. So here I can just play some move queen f4, or either I can just play queen e3, just retaining his knight or its rook. If it goes here, I can just slide my queen from c7. He still cannot take the pawn because his 2 pieces are in threats. But here, give a check. King h2, rook. Here he plays rook d2. My mistake here, because instead going up, I instead play king g1, because I know he don't have any more good move after king g1. He don't have some attacks. He have a weak bishop, useless bishop from a2, and this pawn cannot be taken because of threats that I keep giving the black Magnus Carlsen. Yep, it's a mistake. Now Now here I can just play rook c6. If we play queen knight e5, so what? I can just take. Yes, he can't give check because there is bishop. There's a bishop protecting the light square, diagonal light square. So I've really messed this up. I give him a chance to draw, to make some perpetual check. Instead, I play a mistake, bishop d3. Now I didn't calculate this position because now I'm winning, but I forgot that if knight f3 check was possible, now he can give some perpetual check after queen takes e7. There is knight f3 check. I cannot go here because there is a mate. I just can go f1 e1. Yeah, check. This is a draw. He can just endlessly give checks and checks by repetition. It's a draw. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mess it all up. The winning advantage and winning position have so many tactics, have so many good moves. In the end, Magnus finds a draw. Just one move in all that effort of winning. All those calculation and tactics was put into useless. Just one move. Like I tell you, one move. Magnus wanted. If you made a mistake against a 2000 weighted or master, rank master computer, then there is nothing you can do. So that's all. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you learned something additional or some important stuff, or not at all. Even though, just have some good lesson here. If you are in a winning position, just keep calculating until the end. Don't mess it up like this one if you're playing against a strong opponent, because that will be a tragedy. That will be maybe a big comeback for your opponent. That's all. Thank you.